Army generals lead their soldiers using a command and control approach to leadership. In Scrum, we prefer the servant leader approach. Examples of a Scrum Master being a servant leader include encouraging self-organization, removing impediments, being transparent, leading by example, focusing on continuous improvement, and facilitating collaboration. Being a servant leader is an important part of being a Scrum Master, yet the references to the term servant leader were removed from the 2020 Scrum Guide. I had a chance to speak with David West, the CEO of Scrum.org, and I asked him what it means to be a servant leader, and if the term is still a relevant one.
It's interesting because servant leader actually was removed from the Scrum Guide in the last release, not because Scrum Masters aren't servant leaders, but the reason why is because they're leaders first that serve. It's always very easy to, when you've got the servant word first, it implies that you go and get the coffees, the person does all the facilitation, you run the Zoom, you press the record on the Zoom, you manage all the, all of that sort of stuff, because it's serving, right? But ultimately, you lead first. That means you create the invitation, for instance, not the physical invitation in Outlook or on Google, but the invitation of why people are here and the opportunity to participate. So you lead with the invitation. You ensure that everybody's got the right things, knowledge, experience, appreciation of why you're there, etc. beforehand. You lead by demonstrating psychological safety and vulnerability and all those things. And by leading in that way, you ultimately serve the people. The bottom line, I think, about Scrum, and this isn't just true of Scrum, this is true of all knowledge work in my experience, Darcy, that you need to have a psychologically safe environment to be successful. And that means that the best way of doing that is not to create confrontational type leadership, not to lead by authoritarianism or Machiavellianism, but it's to lead by service. My gran, I mention her again because she was pretty awesome, and she used to say to me when I came home from school, not what have you done today, she'd say, who have you helped today? Who have you helped? And I think that service mantra, and by the way, I often said nobody usually, and that was always a bit of a crisis, and then it all went horribly wrong. But that service mantra, I think, is both enriching for you as a human being, but also enriching in terms of the environment it creates for the team to be successful. We need psychological safety to create an environment where transparency is easy, because we're solving complex problems. By not, to sort of quote the space shuttle, Challenger disaster, by not having a psychologically safe environment that we can say, hey, those O-rings aren't working. We're not going to solve those problems. Now, psychological safety means something different to every organization, every context. But I think what all of them have in common is the need for a Scrum Master to come in ultimately in a service position, but still lead. So not serve first, lead first in that service mindset. So when I talk about servant leadership, I'm very much talking about providing a service to the team through leading by example, providing clarity, by ensuring that everybody has a good invitation as to why they're there, what they're working on, and I help everybody in the team to do that.